Okay, Ronnie, you want to tell me how this whole operation works here?
Yeah, this is the water source for really all of our waterers. We've got 9 scattered through its farm. Pond was built by my grandfather in the early 50s and has been used for cattle to drink out of up until we put this project in a couple of years ago. But the intake system, we drained the pond, got it to a dry bottom, cleaned the silt out of it, and at that point we put an 8-inch pipe out into the pond bottom. We drilled holes in it for water to flow in, covered that with a fabric and then with 57 stone. Water gravity feeds into the septic tank that's buried here to my right, and that's a 1,000-gallon tank, and we have a 6-inch submersible pump located in the tank that pumps water to the top of the hill, and there we've got 3 1,500-gallon tanks hooked in storage in series to give us storage for all of the systems. So if we lose power, we feel like we've got a minimum of 3 days of water supply before we'd have to either truck water in or open a gate and let them into another water source. But that's been a big part of our plan.
Well, that sounds like a very good plan, because you certainly want to have, if your electricity goes out on a weekend or something like that, you'll be prepared. At least your cows will have water for 3 days anyway.
Also, during cold weather, if you have just a short cold snap, you don't have to worry about the pump freezing or the storage tank. You can just turn that system off and allow the storage capacity to carry you through a short cold snap. So that's been another advantage I've taken advantage of.
That's good. Who gave you that idea?
Keith Burgess, designed the storage capacity. And as far as the frost protection, it was just out of necessity. It's either that or keep a heat lamp on the pipes down here.
And that would be kind of difficult at times, wouldn't it?
Just an extra thing to do.
So you're a little more carefree now with the way your water's being given to your cattle.
The other advantage that by having the pond fenced off, like I say, the pond has been here since the 50s. We have regraded shoreline a minimum of 3 times that I can remember to try to reestablish a shoreline. And the cattle, because of the steepness of the grade, always wound around the hill, and you'd have these little paths that just surrounded it, and they always became erosion scars, and the water stayed muddy, the pond stayed muddy all the time, and just was very unsightly. And now that we've got it regraded, we're able to keep it that way. We've got a good vegetative screen all the way around it, and water is staying a lot cleaner. Of the 2 years that I've had this water system in, I've not had to do any maintenance to the storage tanks or the pump or screen. The water is coming that clean through the stone filter. And when you see it in the tanks, it looks like it's coming out of a well.
Well.
Very surprised by that. I wasn't expecting that when I put it in, but that's been a good benefit of the system.
So overall, you've got this stream exclusion system, and it's working very good for you?
Working very good. In the past, cattle, they would either have to go to this pond or one of the creeks along the perimeter to drink, and they basically walked all day long. They had a pattern. They would kind of work the shade in the summer, or in the wintertime they'd try to stay in the sun, but they would cycle over 120 acres almost every day. And by having the rotational grazing pattern set up and water sources distributed throughout the pasture, we get a much better distribution of the manure, which is helping with the grass regrowing. We don't have the paths that we used to have through the pastures, so that also reduces erosion scars on the land. And the cattle aren't walking off as many calories. I mean, they basically don't have to eat as much because they're not using up as much energy in their daily walk. So altogether, I think a much better program.
And they're drinking clean water.
They're drinking clean water. Even though it's the same water source, it's in a cleaner shape because they're not stirring it up to go down to the pond. And it's coming through the stone filter, which is helping to take some of the little bit of silt that's in it out of the water.
So all in all, you're pleased with your with your system here.
Couldn't be more pleased. I think the benefits, initially you'd like to say, hey, you know, we're doing it for Chesapeake Bay, but I think the side benefits I've seen, you know, in my opinion, greatly outweigh that on a personal note. Herd management has improved 110%. Where they were independent before, they had their own water source, they grazed where they wanted to. Now they depend on me to get them to water and also to open up new pastures for them or new grazing. So they handle much easier. They, instead of being chased, now they'll follow. And it just makes the whole attitude of the herd has improved, you know, by being handled more. I've doubled my herd since I've had the project in. I have more grazing now than I did when I started.
Wow.
It's just, you know, you stop and you tell somebody that hadn't been through it and they just shake their head, it can't be. But I've seen it here, and I know weather is a big variable you can't always project and say, well, all right, you know, we've had a great year this year. But even last year, with the drier fall, we still had more grazing than I did the year before. And I think that the pastures are allowed time to rest because of the number of pastures I have. You know, most of them only get grazed 2, maybe 3 times a year for a couple of weeks at a time. And it's just a long rest period that the root structure gets a chance to develop. And it regenerates quicker. You've got more below the ground, so it helps the plant above the ground respond when it does get moisture. It holds through drier weather better because the roots are going deeper. And weed controls improve because the grass is stronger and the weeds don't have as many open spots to take a hold in. So, like I say, just the benefits are, I'm still realizing more as we go. But yeah, I'm just completely satisfied with the whole system.
Okay, well, very good. Do you want to add anything else?
No, I think that about does it.
Okay, thank you very much.